It is March 29, 2012. We have an interview here with Jenn. Hello Jenn, how are you today?
Good.
Now, you are now considered a criminal.
I am.
And before being considered a criminal, what were you doing?
I ran my own daycare in my home, and I had been doing that for several years. I was also a cub leader. I'd been doing that for many years. And very active in the community. My husband was a lieutenant on the fire department, the volunteer fire department, and had been doing that for a number of years. We were just very everyday, respectable family.
And what happened was an issue surrounding your son and school.
Yes.
And what happened? Your son was having issues in school and you were trying to help him stay in school, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you believe he was treated fairly by the school, I guess the people at school?
No, most definitely. They have a criteria to meet, and they need to be the best of the best and have the best of the best. And their mission is to squeeze out anyone that isn't performing at top notch. And my son was struggling. He is very smart, but he does struggle with school. And
so
they didn't want him there.
It was the curriculum he was struggling with.
No, he has attention deficit disorder and his focus and his other issues. But yeah, the curriculum was fine.
Okay. And they wanted to expel him, is that correct?
Yes.
And what was the reason that they claimed they wanted to expel him?
Well, they had successfully suspended him several times before, and this last time, like many other times, was not legitimate. They didn't have a reason. They didn't have a legitimate reason to keep him out of school. And that was my point when I was arguing with the principal.
Okay, and so they refused to allow him into school. They claimed he was going to be suspended, but they had no legitimate, coherent reason to do so.
Yes.
So it seems like he was being targeted just to get him out of the way.
And the only repercussions I had was I could file an appeal with the district office, which would take much longer than his suspension. So he would still lose all that time at a school.
So in interest in furthering his education, you attempted to change the minds of the interested parties at the school. And
Yes.
how did what did you say to them?
I told them that even if I had to rifle into the school, my son would be there for an education, would get an education.
And how did they respond?
I was arrested and found guilty of uttering threats.
Because they misconstrued the word rifling, is that correct?
Yes, they did.
And
an education body didn't understand the word rifle.
And they misunderstood rifling as in to get him in
Yes.
however you had to instead mean a weapon, which is a quite different thing. And did they call the police?
Yes, they did.
And what did they tell the police?
That I was going to come to the school with a rifle and shoot people.
And did the police contact you?
Yes, they did.
And what did the police say to you?
They asked me if I was going to do this, and I said no. They spoke to my husband. He said no, that this was absolutely ridiculous. And
so it was a simple,
we thought that was the end of it.
It was a simple misunderstanding.
And we thought that was the end of it.
And it was blown out of proportion, and then what happened after that?
The police showed up at my house the next day and asked me why I wasn't at the high school with a rifle. And they arrested me.
Wow. And that was the first time you were arrested?
Yes.
In your whole life?
Yes.
Over a simple misunderstanding?
A word.
Of a word. And then they brought you to trial?
Yes.
And what was the outcome of that trial?
Well, of course, they had to have their biggest guy against me. I was representing myself, and they had Bill Corby for the Crown, and of course I was found guilty of uttering threats. And my scouts was taken away from me.
And were you still able to have the daycare?
Other issues were going on, yes. At that time, yes.
So So this negatively affected your life.
Yes.
A simple misunderstanding of a word where a mother wanted her son to have an education was blown out of proportion, and now you have a criminal record.
Yep.
What was the final sentence regarding that? Did they give you jail time, a fine, or?
It was originally 3 months probation and a fine of $350 to the school for education programs, which I had no problem paying because I want to support our education system.
Yes.
So I did pay the fine. However, I asked for 6 months in order to accumulate the funds.
Yes.
And we didn't have that kind of money, so we asked for 6 months. And so it went on my record that I was probation for 6 months.
All right. And that's how you became
Criminal.
a criminal.
Number 1.
With a criminal record. It's as simple as that. A simple misunderstanding turns you into a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate in our society that it works that way. All right, thank you.
Thanks.